These are sovereign nations, and how will you maintain diplomatic relations? Your first, Bob.
Good question. I'll even make it broader, and I'll come back down to the tribes. How do you run the state from Salem? Well, the answer is you don't, and you shouldn't. One of my proposals is at least 4 different times every 3 months to move the governor's office to 4 different places around the state and live in that community. See what that community's like, experience what they experience, and have your office from there. So whether it's in Lakeview or Klamath Falls or Brookings or Fossil or Baker, that would be a step in the right direction. So I'll step that up to the tribes. I think moving the office to one of the tribes during one of those 2-week would be very helpful. I think listening to 2 or 3 or 4 representatives from the various tribes, because I know the tribes are in different locations and they have different needs and wants and problems, to before you try and solve a problem, listen to the people that it's going to impact. So that's what I would do. There's a lot I don't know about the tribes. There's a lot I don't understand, but I do know how to listen, and I do know how to get things done. And so if there are problems there, that I will help tackle them.
So I can tell you, I've met with tribal leaders, many of them, and they're really frustrated right now with the governor and the governor's office, mainly because they haven't been included in a lot of these really, really important discussions. In fact, the private forest accord was just, negotiated. There's a deal, and the tribes weren't invited to be part of that discussion, and it impacts them. They have generational knowledge of how to properly manage our forests. And again, no one reached out and brought them to the table. So as governor, I think that's going to be really, really important that we not only have Oregonians and the people sort of from our local regions, that we are sensitive to the tribal issues, and that they are at the table as we sort of come together for these solutions. Because if they're not included, it's not a complete solution. And we see that in parts of our state right now where there's really growing frustration. There's an issue going on now in Grants Pass between the flying lark, and the machines, the gambling machines there, and how that conflicts with what the tribes are allowed to use. So we've got to do a better job at being more inclusive and making sure that we are hearing all perspectives. So that's what I will do. Thank you.
So for me, growing up, and I spent time back in college for quite some time, 6 weeks on the Yakima Indian Reservation, and I learned a lot about Native cultures. That I found out that Native Americans are human beings just like the rest of us. And they have complex infights, and they have their own independent localized governments, and they don't always get along, and some are more cultural than others, and some want an ATV and others don't. So you have to treat our tribes the same way you treat any local government. 1, with recognition, and 2, allowing them to define, as a collective people, as a local government, an entity, what's important to them. And our job as governors is to get behind them and empower them in that, in the same way that we would do for any county or any municipality. And the thing is, tribal folks have some opportunities as well. Because if you ever want to beat regulation, tribes get to set a lot of their own regulations. If they were entrepreneurial, which they've been with casinos and other things, they could do a whole lot of things that would be of great service here in this state or even in this area. One of my favorites is, I think the tribes need to go into the prison business, because Governor Brown doesn't like prisons, but guess who could build them?
Idiot.
And if you ever want to score one back culturally, that's how you do it. We need our tribes, and we need to be talking to them more than every 4 years, like the Governor Brown does. She only cares about them every election cycle. That's it. And I'll echo what Jessica said. are, tribal people are extremely frustrated with this government. They want to be heard, just like we do. So amen to that. We're in it together.
I like that one. I wrote it down. That's good. Steal it from him.
I'll give you kudos to the prison idea. I like that. That's not a bad idea.
It's a terrible idea and offensive, so stop.
Well, it could be.
So, I mean, I think this is, again, like everybody has said, I mean, this comes back to nobody's bringing diverse groups of people together to listen to them. You know, if we are excluding large parts of the state from conversations, it's not okay. There's a reason why Eastern Oregon wants to be, you know, Greater Idaho, and that's the same reason why the tribes are frustrated, because nobody's listening. There's no representation in those areas. We have to get involved. We have to have leadership that is willing to actually lead, which starts with conversations. You have to talk with everybody. Whether you agree with them, like them, hate them, whatever. You have to have those hard conversations. And that's how you get to the root of what the problem is. You get to the point of how you can help them. How everybody in this state can win. That's what we all want. The tribes are included in that. They're a part of this state, whether you like them or not, whatever, it doesn't matter. They are a part of this state. We have to listen to them and work with them just like we do any other group of people.